Absolutely, yeah. Thank you very much, gents. It is time to get into game number 3.
Virtus. That's right, Red Eye. We are going now into Game 3. And now, before we go into the draft, though, I wanted to ask a question. Dendy had mentioned something about how TNC are playing 4 cores, basically. And to me, that's a marked difference from the Raven era TNC, where it's usually like, you know, give him a Terrorblade, give him a Spectre.
He was the man.
He was the man, the myth. And I'm surprised that a TNC like this, maybe it's because of Heen's influence, but Gunnar, they've been able to transition into this pretty smoothly. Is it because the meta encourages a 4-core kind of thing, or is it just a stylistic choice?
The meta kind of encourages it right now with the new Axe changes, new Roche changes, talent changes as well for supports have made them a lot stronger than they used to be. Like, a couple patches ago, like TB was like broken. You would just farm the whole map, and now the map's a lot harder to farm as a core, like by yourself, and get the highest net worth in the game. So a lot more teams are having a lot more greedier 3s and greedier 4s, and they play more as a team, and they play it as a team game, not as a
Just
win me the game. Win me the game.
It's just, you know, we'll make space for you.
There's so many items now. You get 2 tomes at level 10. You get the Aghanim's Blessing, which obviously should have gone to the 5 that game. Like, it bolsters these supports. Like, they all have GPM counts at 10 or 15 now. Like, it just makes sense to pick these later game supports.
Yeah, and that's why Tiny is proving to be so important and a hero that VICI Gaming does not fear, as we see the ban still respect banning that Chen from AU.
I'm just really surprised TNC didn't ban Tide.
Yeah.
Like, they banned it the first game, they let it through last game, he owned, and I think if VICI just gonna pick it up again if TNC doesn't.
I'm more scared of the Shadow Demon. I think that kind of ruined TNC's strat last game. The Bristleback got really hard countered.
Yeah.
I know when I was playing with Forev, he would say, I'll play Bristleback against anything.
Except Shadow
Demon? But not Shadow Demon.
Really?
Yeah. So...
But are you that worried? Because, I mean, they're not going to pick Bristle now, obviously, right? I hope so. And that's why I just feel like in the first game it was Enchant played by Yang, and, like, he doesn't team fight. You're an Enchantress, and now you have this Tidehunter. You want to team fight. You want a 5v5 TNC. And I'm worried if you let VICI 5v5 you, they will not outsmart you, but, like, fight into the Shrine we saw. Like, they do the little things better. There's a Grim.
It is a Grim, a different direction for TNC, actually, and not any sort of typical combo right off the bat, as Earthshaker doesn't have any targeted spells that would work with the Soulbind duplication, so going in a different direction, and VICI Gaming going to respond with a Leshrac.
Yeah, so last game it was banned in the second phase, so they couldn't open with the Shadow Demon Lesh, so now they're just going to take it earlier.
And this is popular just, you know, because you've got a great setup for Split Earth, but even beyond that, so where exactly do you think this Leshrac's going to be laning?
Probably mid.
Okay.
I think some teams can run at 3 and then a 4 Shadow Demon or 5, and they kind of pair them. They put them in the off lane. So they go in the safe lane. It's your job.
Yeah, and not only is it a great setup, right? Lesh is one of those heroes that needs a save. You don't have a blade.
Yes.
You don't have one of those things. And the fact Shadow Demon can set up and save you is so good for the hero. Because that hero just pumps out the damage. Like, Leshrac is so scary.
For the longest period of time, Leshrac's Yule's timing was so critical, because not only was it giving you mana regen, but it meant that a hero that needs to be in the fight can actually live for more than like 5 seconds of Pulse Nova damage.
Yeah, that's why you'll see a lot of teams pick Oracle with Lesh.
Right.
Because they give him the save. He stays alive 5 extra seconds. That's like 1,000 damage he pumps out on every hero per second. It's crazy. I also like that they picked the Lesh over the Tidehunter because of the Grim. I think that's a response to the Grim. His Phantom Embrace doesn't get purged by the Kraken Shell.
True. One of the few things,
Yeah, so you can silence the Tide. He can't really get his Ravage off. You know, if you grip him with the ult, with the Grim ult, they can't like split. The Tide gets stuck. So I like that they're kind of changing it up.
Sand King ban, really good. You have an Earthshaker, Grimstroke, Sand King. At these 15, 20-minute fights, you will just get run over by, like, the long reach of that team. But you take it out of the pool, makes it a lot easier.
So then if you're TNC, how much are you hoping to really optimize this Grimstroke pick? Are you going to start going for, you know, the classic single target combinations that go with the Soulbind? I know Lich isn't particularly popular anymore. Doom seems to be the go-to combination from Grimstroke, but it seems that a lot of teams are just content to pick him as a great way to push out lanes because the Stroke of Fate is so useful, and then you just slap the Inkswell onto your Initiator like an Earthshaker.
Yeah, and it's tough, right? Because you think of carries that might be good, like with the Grimstroke, like a Sven, a Wraith King, maybe like that, but there's a Shadow Demon in the game, so it makes it a lot more difficult.
A lot of teams don't even pick much combo with it. I've seen teams pick like one hero like with one spell that helps it.
If that,
Yeah, and they kind of, if they want to combo with it, it's the Grim. he'll build Aether and then Sheep.
Right.
And he'll get this Hex timing at, 30, 40 minutes. He has a really nice GPM talent, and he'll just combo 2 people, Hex 2 people, and that's his contribution to the fight.
You see that stat? Tim's is 0 and 3 on the Grimstroke. That is actually, I mean, it was his only negative hero, but 0 and 3, that's like, that has to be a little bit in the back of your head if you are them. Like, oh, wait, we just haven't won. Obviously, it could be a 5.
It could be a 5. Give the Tim's Earthshaker.
I think that's a better idea. I just don't even like Grim that much as 4. Eventually, you are going to get, like, even that 5 position, the Sheep Stick and whatnot, because you have the GPM talent. And I don't think you need to prioritize farm on a Grim.
It does work well with Jug that they picked up. You can Ink-Swell the Jug in the lane. He goes to spin. I think the Jugs are responsible to the Leshrac lane. You can put him there. He can never get stunned by the Shadow Demon combo.
That's true. And something that can actually brawl with Leshrac very early on, just because the Blade Fury means that he's not going to take really any damage from the Pulse Nova. It's just the Edict damage.
I think right now I'd like to see Alina from TNC in their next pick or 2 for their mid. It works well with the Grim, and I think it lanes well against the Lesh if they decide to put it mid. It gives them this high tempo. It gives them building damage.
But you'd be willing to show your mid lane matchup this early? Or rather your mid lane hero this early on TNC? Because you don't really know where this Leshrac's going to be. We've even seen a lot of Chinese teams even one position Leshrac a lot of the times.
It depends on the team. Some teams are confident with their offlaner. If he has a big pool, he can counter the carry. They'll pick a mid like Lina, where it's stable. You're going to match up 50-50 at worst in almost every matchup.
Yep. TNC loves last picking Bat Riders, so I can see him doing that. I'm curious if VICI's going to go. I would love it if they just picked another stun. I'm trying to think of heroes that would go well, but you want to fight TNC right now. You have a Leshrac, you have a Shadow Demon. You don't mind going late, but these teams are just running at each other. Eventually, it's not the fastest paced games, right? They're going to 50, 60 minutes. Eventually, you are going to have to run into each other. And these 5-second BKBs, whoever has more stuns at that point, normally is winning these games.
Do you know Fade plays Earth Spirit?
Yeah,
I can
want to say that
he does.
He does, right?
It's not really in their pool of heroes.
I mean, Earth Spirit does not seem to be in the pool of heroes either, which is so shocking to me. The hero's been so good for so long, and now it seems to be more situational. Instead, VICI Gaming going to go for a Warlock. Obviously, plenty of synergy with the Leshrac with the Fatal Bonds, right?
Yeah, a lot of AoE, you have a lot of control. It's more teamfight. They were a little lacking on teamfight control. They had more single target from Shadow Demon. They had AoE damage from Lesh, but now they have the control.
And you have the cancel on Jug now with the Rock, which is really nice. Just holding him in place. Now you have the Rock, you have the ulti from Shadow Demon. This Jug is not going to be happy in fights.
Yeah, this Blade Fury spell immunity is not going to be able to protect you from these ultimates.
Yep. And it's going to be, looks like it is going to be the Fade on Shadow Demon, which I like. I love a farm Shadow Demon.
Do you think they're going to do 3 Lesh then? And try to match him with the...
That's why I feel they're going to do... I think they're going to want to... If they do that right, you have to dodge the Juggernaut lane, right? And we could see a lot of lane swapping. Obviously, we still don't know because 3 heroes, but...
There's the Tiny TNC Predator. It has brought them so much success. Unfortunately, in that last game, did not really pan out, but still, it's been a real showstopper this entire day.
Now I like it, because now you have 2 heroes who pair very well. Looks like the Lesh probably going middle. As you said, though, the Chinese teams do like sometimes playing it as a carry role. It does scale insanely well. That level 25 talent, buildings are dead, heroes are dead, the Edict Explosion.
Even the 20 talent, the Pulse Nova damage, he does crazy damage.
Yep, and you have so many apart.
Yeah, I'm really surprised to see what TNC does with the Tiny. They did it 4 the first game.
True.
3 the second game.
And you've been waiting for a 2 Tiny.
Is it going to be the 2 Tiny?
Is it going to be the 2 Tiny?
I think it's decent this game. There's 3 heroes that are really squishy in the early game.
And TNC has overall last pick, so they can set up for it if they really want.
Yeah, this last ban will determine if they want to protect something like it. So if you did want to do a Tiny mid, and you're not expecting it to be a Leshrac mid, what kind of bans is a Tiny looking for? What does he not want to have to deal with in the mid lane?
I don't think you need a ban for the lane itself, as Tiny is a kind of self-sustaining lane.
Okay.
More of just the game,
you ban a hero, assuming that you assume the Lesh is mid, and you ban a hero that's going to own you from the carry position, I think, more so. I think Death Prophet actually might be a good ban. We haven't banned it yet.
Yeah, the first time it's really... There you go. The first time it got through the second phase there, actually.
I think that would have matched up really well with VICI's pace. It gives them a lot more teamfight building. It's works well with the Warlock as well. You have a heal, you can pop your heal on the DP. We have another save in the Shadow Demon, like Grant said earlier.
And there would be a ridiculous amount of push. You got the Retaliate from Centaur, you got the Golem from Warlock, you got the Edict Explosions from Leshrac. If you had a Death Prophet on top, that would have been devastating.
I'm excited to see. We saw a little bit in group stage how many people are going to go middle to defend against that retaliate, getting it at level 1.
Yeah.
We saw a full 5-on-5 fight just to stop him from being able to get those stacks. I always find that so, like, just the change. Like, we'll just give it to him. And now it's like, let's fight for him. Who cares about the runes? We gotta fight.
Increasing. Like, at first it was like Centaur would just do it and people would be like, whatever. And then you'd need to bring an escort from Centaur. And VICI Gaming, they're going to go late. They are picking up a Medusa, although it's not as late as Medusa used to be. These days we're seeing Medusas participate a lot earlier on.
I think they get this Manta Butterfly timing and they push. But I'd be scared for a TNC Lina right now. It matches up well against the Dusa, and like we said, it kind of goes well with their other heroes. So I'm looking forward to Alina here.
Yeah, because with the Grimstar, right, double Laguna is one of those things, like we saw it multiple times in the group stage. It's just scary, especially when you get that Ags, the pure damage from heroes.
No.
They got
22nd pick Brood Mother.
And it's against Medusa. This is a good Brood game, right, Gunnar? Like, if you're playing the Medusa, how are you feeling?
I don't want to go to lower bracket.
They got brooded, I believe.
You're going to go in a lower bracket on a Brood game. This Medusa's going to have to farm her little heart out.
Yep, you can farm the snakes. Obviously, you have split shot and that, but sometimes if she gets a diffusal blade, you just got to be careful. You're just getting run at.
So, I got to hear it. We're ending the series. Which way are you going, Grant?
I'm taking TNC. I think it's a great Brood pick. I love that they just have the Earthshaker and the Tiny again. I don't think those were ever the problems, and it controls the mid game while your Brood just runs around doing her own thing.
Gunnar?
I gotta go with TNC. The Brood was just a really nice pick. I think Dusa doesn't really kill the spiders that fast. Her split shot's not amazing for it. They have a good amount of magic resistance as well, so the snake doesn't really kill them. I think they might run over in 20 minutes.
All right, fair enough. But guess what, Grant?
What's that? That's my line.
I know.
Son of a gun.
I want to hear from the Banana Slam Jamma. That's what I want to know.
Going into this last game, I was thinking from the first two games, they both went over an hour long. And I was like, who's going to have the better late game? And I looked at VICI's draft, and I was feeling really good. The Medusa, the Warlock behind, the Shadow Demon save. Felt like they were going to have a really hard time fighting into this Medusa. And then suddenly you get this last pick Brood. And I think TNC's on this timer where they have to hit the mid game really hard, snowball off the lanes. If it does go late, I favor VICI, but I don't know. They have no way to deal with Brood Mother early on in the game, and I'm scared for them. About as scared for them as I am of spiders. So let's find out how this game's going to go from Toby, Juan, and Syndra.
You know, spiders are terrifying, like absolutely terrifying, and it looks to be the same thing here in the draft, man. Like, what is the answer? How do they find the clearance? How do they survive longer than 20 minutes that the draft panel put us on a clock for?
Real life spiders don't look like that. Unfortunately.
I don't know. I don't know. You haven't seen Australian spiders.
It would be pretty terrifying if you saw that spider in real life. Not just size, but also looks with like the cosmetics and everything it has on it. Yeah, this is a really great last pick Brood from TNC. I think if you're VICI Gaming, your solution is to put the Centaur mid. I don't think there's any other way you deal with this. You play the Medusa safe lane with the Warlock, and then you offlane Shadow Demon Leshrac. Perhaps you can do some tri-lane shenanigans and leave the Dusa solo and let her suffer a little bit. But I think the dual lane setup is the only thing you can really do. So what TNC should be looking at is, if the lanes are super predictable for them, which they kind of should be, put the ideal lanes. You keep your Brood mid, even if it's against Centaur, that's completely fine. But how can you punish one of the side lanes? Do you leave a hero solo and do some super strong tri-lane with the Grimstroke and Juggernaut? Or do you also do a 2-on-2 match where you can beat them in perhaps all three lanes if everything goes right?
That'd be very advantageous, and that would put at least like if they could win all three lanes, TNC would be very happy because they can potentially stick to that 20-minute timer. But I also like the combinations that VG Gaming have, where you have the SD as well as Leshrac. It's a classic, it works really well. DY, if you can get early levels and you actually have a rock to drop, if you actually have fatal bonds, if you have some kind of control that's able to amplify the damage that Paparazzi as well as Ari may be missing in the early part of the game, then this is a better advantage too. And it feels like while there's not a Magnus in this game, the rock drop is still able to cause a lot of problems. Same with the Stampede. How does TNC stay on top of them, or does it not matter? Do you just keep pushing anyway?
I mean, I'm pretty convinced that if this goes late, VICI Gaming will win this game because they have some good late-game solutions for Brood. They just don't have the early mid-game solutions for Brood. And Brood has a tendency to either win games in 30, 35 minutes, or sometimes maybe 40, or lose most of the time when it goes very late because the hero falls off. Whereas a hero like Medusa scales very well into late game. So does Centaur, so does Leshrac, and their two supports. All of VICI's heroes in long game. So,
Yeah, top lane.
Yep, you got to hit that timing for TNC, and a lot of it is going to come from Armel, so keep a close eye on.
In the building yet, and every time this will happen again. Tim's with another toss. The early aggression, they cannot allow this to happen. DY, now he'll level up the Shadow World. He's putting it onto Tim's. He wants some level, some rebuttal, one more attack. It may be enough. Yeah, it will be. The Shadow Word will tick him down.
Tango.
And DY,
Tango.
oh, he's yeah.
Tango.
Actually, is it still?
Tango.
It's enough. Tango is good.
Tango. Close call though, but he got out. And yeah, this tri lane is super strong. TNC has a true kill lane here with Grim, Tiny, Jugger. It's only going to get worse when both Grim and Tiny hit level 2, so that they have Inkswell and Avalanche, as Tim's will
Not deny himself to the mid
go
tower.
suicide to the mid tower.
Hey, but shared bounty, right?
Yep.
Everyone gets some money. And Cuckoo's getting pounded on the bottom lane. He's looking for some CS, but he's 10-2 to the 2-0, right, of himself 2-0. But Paparazzi's trying to do some damage directly into Cuckoo. No points up in Edict just yet. They're using Disruption, Lightning, Split Earth, anything they could do to harass him down. He's down to 3 tangos after burning through a couple more as well, south.
That's the price they'll pay. But if they can shut down Medusa really hard, it's great news for them. When it's going to come to pushing and ending the game, though, you might want Leshrac to have a slightly worse game than this, because it's such a strong team fighter with a lot of damage output with the right items. But as the panel talked about, there's some serious bursts on the Radiant side from Tiny and the Juggernaut Omnislash as well. You can probably deal with the Leshrac pretty well.
And defensive ward from DY is down, so they can at least see where Tim's is moving. They probably would have liked to get it on the other side of the tree line, but fed up on Tim's and AU to the camp. Tim's with the Avalanche. Someone want to come close enough? Yep, it will in fact be the Grimstroke. And DY wants to help out. He's just got some damage into the Grimstroke, and that's all. Ori is totally dead. The shields are nowhere near strong enough. And it's just a terrible game for the Deuce now. And I just saw Yang jump, I think, like 10 CS. One double edge on the spiders. Okay, he just went up another 5 CS.
He's going to rush Vanguard. Then he's pretty safe made against the Broodmother. What generally happens in Brood matchups like these is that Brood will retreat to the jungle and just out-farm him. It will farm wave and jungle camps, and Yang will just sit there and get only the wave. But Centaur's biggest advantage in this lane, to an extent, apart from being able to be there, is that if Brood leaves, he's going to take the tower with Retaliate. So you put a little bit of extra pressure on that mid-hero to stick around, and will probably limit Armel's farm by a little bit. Trying to be annoying now.
Some good time, more than anything else. And that's what VICI Gaming need. Still get Leshrac up there, top 3 net worths. Only one of them belongs to TNC. Brood's still a little bit further behind. We know that'll start to scale once Brood.
Bottom lane.
They're actually going again. Yep, Cuckoo trapped out. Fade. Well, he's getting a lot of poison stacks on him. That's 4. One more, not even needing it. He just pops him anyway. And up on top, Tim's going once again. DY. And this top lane eventually is going to have some diminishing returns. Tim's is going in very deep.
Nice
Puts the
toss.
Shadow Word on him. Tosses him back over towards Grimstroke.
Tim's, or DY was not expecting Tim's to be able to find the boss there. He was standing in the middle of the creep wave, but Tim's found the right angle to be closest to the Warlock and toss him away, and they get a nice kill there. Warlock will be respawning and be able to reconnect for the bounty runes, but I don't think VICI Gaming have any intent on trying to do anything on the top runes. Rather, push out bottom lane with the Leshrac and try to get those runes, as Shaker has...
He's abandoned.
He's gone woods.
Yeah, he's gone bush.
That's... Somebody's got to go bottom. You don't give up a lane at 5 minutes like this. I don't think that cannot be worth it with the heroes that they have.
No, that's like full free farm for Paparazzi.
That's one thing. It's also all this golden experience you're losing by not having a hero in this lane. Sure, you get some stuff in the jungle, but that's not ideal.
Unless they're thinking about lane switching. You've hit pretty heavily into the Dusa. Like, is there a need to actually bring some pressure down against the Leshrac?
I think this ship has kind of sailed for the laning stage, unless you bring 2 or 3 heroes down there. The there's nobody who can go down here on his own and stop this Leshrac from doing what he's doing. The problem is if they don't do it, he's just going to push the towers. It's level 3 edict. The towers fall really quickly. So this is absolutely a problem for TNC that Cuckoo has to evacuate that early. But that was the choice they made when they aggroed the Dusa.
Yep.
Dusa is in trouble again.
Yeah, really staying on top. But then again, the Stampede. Inkswell won't connect. Battlebond's going to continue together. And Paparazzi, he's joined the fight. Now he's going to turn on the teams. They're all connected together and no way to break free. Cuckoo trapped in the tree line. If they can attack into Tim's as well as Gabby. Gabby's going to try and spin TB out. He actually gets the kill on the way out. Tim's is doing some damage into AU, but he's back home safely, regenerating up.
And these fights are only going to get worse now. If you try to dive, now that the Leshrac has Pulse Nova, when he shows up, he's like double his damage in these kind of fights. So you've got to be super careful with how deep you dive as TNC. You've got the kill that you came for, but it cost you 2 cores.
Hey, someone's going to go back down bottom lane as well. SD is now alone down there.
Yeah.
He didn't have to come for the fight. They sent in Paparazzi because they realized they needed the damage output from him. And what happened to Leshrac? He is now skyrocketed up to number 1 in the net worth, 3.6k. And he can build some very, very large items very early on in this. Like you're 6-7 minutes into the game. Efficiency Shrine just for good luck. Yang already finished up the Vanguard. Paparazzi coming out in the Courier.
It's not for him.
It's not for him, you're right. He was looking at a Bracer as well as a Null.
He's quick buying Bracer. I think it's a really good choice. Maybe you get Bracer and then Yules, or maybe you get, I don't think you get 2 Braces and 1 Null. That seems a little bit overkill, but the Bracer would be fine. And yeah, we see it. Gabby has to bottom now. Just, you know, somebody's got to be down here.
Yep.
And he does the long run from base to bottom because he died TPing out on top.
Do they see him? Do they see him moving around the tree line? He drops down his Observer Ward, instantly dewarded. That's actually punched on by Ori. So hey, efficiency tango. What happened to this mid pressure that I thought Armel was going to do? Centaur would retaliate. It's just wrecking the tier 1 tower. And Armel, the panel was saying like this is meant to be Armel's game, a great brood game, but right now it's taking some time. The only great lane is up here on top where TNC is fighting once again. Stampede, the body block was good, but once again, Paparazzi TPs himself over. Cuckoo with the sacrificial lamb into the tree lines. They're holding the split earth just in case, but it's not even required. Cuckoo, oh, DY.
How did DY get that?
Wait, what? Okay, sure, he'll take.
You know, it's a fatal bond damage from the Grimstroke.
I think it was Shadow Word tick,
right?
Right?
Was it Shadow Word? Okay.
Yeah, I think so.
All right, so Yang has won the mid lane. He took Brood's tower and is 600 gold ahead of it.
Well, now they're trying to do something about it, but oh, the 3-man stun! The hooks and the follow-up from Paparazzi, they'll take you. He came out for the regen rune. Oh, this game is starting to escalate a little bit quicker. We were talking about TNC potentially winning all 3 lanes with great matchups, and now it feels like all 3 lanes, or at least 2 of them, have gone the way of VICI Gaming.
I think you only have a possibility of winning all 3 lanes if you play 2-1-2. If you play 3-1-1, you can't win the 1-on-2 lane, and that one was lost really hard. The Shaker against the Leshrac, plus Shadow Demon lane. And the Brood against Centaur, I said beforehand that that is not a Brood favorite matchup in the beginning, but that Brood can win by farming, and eventually Armel will do that. But he lost his tower minute 730. I don't think that's as early as this would usually go, but Yang is super experienced with playing the Centaur, and he's having a wonderful game. 113 CS minute 9. I guess some of them are Spiderlings, but that's also telling, right? If he kills this many spiders, maybe Armel isn't in his right element on this hero in this game.
Yeah, he was throwing him in like
the groups, right?
Yeah, he did. Fade is just doing nothing but chasing down AU. He had more than enough poison stacks on him. AU was on a warding mission. He came in onto the cover of smoke, but he only came in as he dropped the Radiant Ops on top of his death position. So he was looking to plant next to the tier 1 tower, but I can tell you right now, with VG's presence down here, there's no way TNC getting close to that dire bottom tier 1.
Dire's middle tower is under attack.
With Leshrac arriving 4 points up and Edict to push the wave, take it back. Looks like Armel's getting some damage into that mid tower, bringing it down to half life as Yang had abandoned his post for a moment. And the catch-up is happening, as you said. Hand of Minus is over and Armel. He's building the Aghanim Scepter, rushing it up, realizing he needs to have a large amount of control across this map.
Yeah, he needs to farm a lot, this scheme. But already, that is already a bit of a problem. If your Broodmother needs to, not that Brood needs to farm a lot, Brood always needs to farm a lot, but that it feels like he needs to catch up in a game where we talk about VICI Gaming having the better late game and the overall early stage went well for them. this is very quickly becoming a problem. The win expectancy says 75% for VICI Gaming, and we're only 10 minutes in. And it's just this early mid-tower and this golden experience lead that they have from the laning stages is quickly becoming a problem for TNC to deal with.
And look at the confidence from Yang. He doesn't care about coming high ground with a double head drop out. And that's some spill damage up on top. Paparazzi in Biz Rune looking to prep up. It's a toss back. They don't even know Lashrak. Yeah, they do. He walked just in range of the sentry ward. That's why Tims threw out the toss straight away. But Stampede, now they're chasing after Tims. What's he got? He's got toss off cooldown. He'll throw Paparazzi away. Purges up. Split Earth will easily be able to connect. And the tiny wall fall. Paparazzi claiming his 4th kill of the 8 that VG have 11 minutes in.
Radiant's top tower is under attack.
If Gabby's getting something on the bottom lane, farming up quickly, going in for the Maelstrom build over on the Juggernaut, and getting some damage into this tier 1 tower. Medusa will have to come and do something about it. She's just been wanting to farm up the stacks.
Yeah. It feels like TNC actually needs to start making moves, but your Brood is not really ready for it yet. Yang is just sitting on Brood really hard. And your Shaker got crushed in lane, so he doesn't have many play options. Tiny's level 5. With Scrimstroke, he's also level 5. We're 12 minutes in, none of their supports are level 6. On the other side, Shadow Demon is almost level 8, and Warlock is almost level 8. They have a huge lead. Are there any tones on this courier? There are no tones. This is what will happen. So the weakness of going tri-lane like this is if you don't get a lot of kills and just stomp the lane, if you keep the lanes for too long, your supports are going to get under level because they're sharing experience 3 ways, right?
Yeah.
And I felt like the moment Shaker evacuated from bottom and gave up on the lane, you need to put a support down to leech this experience. You can't just leave this lane empty for 2 or 3 minutes, which results in exactly this. Your options are just super limited on the map right now for TNC.
You know, Fade, I think that's a little greedy, but I understand he wants to get the ether lens up. He just farmed half of the stacks that he did on the Ancients with just mass stacking up poison. But Ori can finish what's left.
I'm the carry now. And now Brood is top net worth. So Armel is finally leading the board. But similar to Alchemist, Brood has a bad game if it is not the richest hero in the map. Your net worth is not as valuable as other heroes overall. In general, that's like a rule of thumb. It's not 100% always, but you get what I mean.
Yeah.
So this is not enough. If you recall some of the iconic Matumba Man games, for example, from TI7 when Liquid won, a lot of the game Mato is 2k gold ahead of all enemy cores at this point, or maybe even 3. So with that logic in mind, Mother is currently behind par for the course, kind of.
He needs to catch up 2,000 gold.
He needs to find big items, and maybe if there's some sort of straight kill that can come his way that could help, maybe the Brood Mother can find Shadow Demon, someone kill him with spiders, but VICI is not playing Brood's part of the map with anyone else than Centaur, and he can't kill that guy, so look at how fat Yang is.
Yeah.
Crimson Guard, 2k health, minute 13.
And he's working on finishing a full pipe for his team. A lot of that magical damage is going to be negated on TNC. Meanwhile, Paparazzi, because of his crazy starts, got a Yule Scepter, so he's got both defense as well as aggressive options when it comes to the fights. He's got Warlock sitting behind him. Like normally you have a Warlock and their Warlock at 6 and you're like, okay guys, let's go and fight. Let's find a great opportunity. And now on bottom lane, there's the movement. Pims, Yule, stunned, can't walk away. He added some pressure. He tried, tossed away Paparazzi, but that may have actually just hurt Gabby more if that actually succeeded. But it doesn't. It's just still a one-off kill. Blink Dagger flying out right now. In fact, it's...
Gabby's running at Yang, but...
No, that's...
What are you going to do?
There's a Blink Dagger for Kook. It has to come on the back of a smoke. The Aghanim Scepter as well, I think it's about to be completed up for Armel. So a lot of critical items starting to arrive for TNC. What can they do with it?
Yeah, this has to be play timing, right? You smoke up with your Shaker, your Tiny, your Grimstroke, and maybe a Jugger or Brood, and you combine on the lane and get something done. Either you get this mid tower with a lot of Spiderlings, or you try to push the top tower. But just sitting around farming right now, I think is definitely the wrong play, and something needs to happen. So let's see what they're going to do. They're just going to grab these 2 bounty runes for now.
God, those whip charges.
We are getting a tower in the meantime. This lead, Toby, it's getting ridiculous. What do you think? 90% almost. 15 minutes.
You just watch the weird probability.
I mean, you look at that graph and you feel like, okay, I mean, I know it went a bit better for VICI in the last 3 minutes, but I didn't expect it to swing this much, you know? It's like...
And you still have Broodmother at number 1, Juggernauts at number 3, and when it comes to net worth,
yeah,
like, items are not stopping. But it just tells you the tale when it comes to gold, when it comes to kills. It's not always the easy answer to say, well, we're ahead a little bit. So we're on like 60% favored.
Expectancy of games is like the golden XP graph can only take you so far because it's a lot about knowledge of matchups and how things are supposed
great
to go.
DI actually reveals that Earthshaker blinks over, but he didn't see why. Now DI will drop the rock as well as better bonds off. Have they got another control? No, they don't. In practice, Fade in trouble. Stampede to disengage. My God, all those spiders just evaporated. Paparazzi and Centaur can go to work. You'll set up. You will hit the deck in the hardest way possible.
Yeah, TNC just didn't find the play. It's so hard for them to find an opening right now.
That timing was really unfortunate too.
Yeah, they ran.
You had to have a guess of where the blink was, and DY was only just putting that observer board down.
Yeah.
The trade-off, looking for the mid tower. Paparazzi will arrive. Once again, a lot of fight for this movie. We're at 228 CS on Centaur and 172 on the Deucer. A lot of this is spiders.
I don't think the Deucer killed any spiders.
She hasn't? Like, she's
maybe
just neutraling.
Maybe a bit, not much. If she killed, I don't, 5 maybe? I don't think I've seen her kill very many spiders at least.
What's the spider gold counter or something? That's what we need.
Like a minimum gold. They're worth like 3 gold each or whatever. It's something, but...
And Cuckoo really wants to drop this Echo Slam somewhere, but he's not finding an opportunity at all. And he doesn't want to do it on Yang. Hood is already done. Crimson Guard is up. I think the pipe is just... Yeah, he's just waiting for 50 gold, and the pipe will fly out.
So we talked pre-game about timing and what TNC's lineup needs to accomplish in order to get control of this game and run away with it. And now that the timing has been missed, that is why we're seeing this 10% win expectancy. So what's the 10%? Outside of VP screwing up, options that TNC are kind of limited to are trying to force fights around where Brood is playing, and then probably blowing up the Leshrac is my best bet. You're not killing Centaur, and if you are, it's going to cost you the fight.
Well, on the bright side, Leshrac went for movement speed build, so that's your upside.
He does have a save, however, and a golem behind him once that's available, so even that kill is hard, but it's what you've got to try as TNCs to find a way to access fight. If you're playing
Radiant's middle tower is under attack.
The whole game, Brood's chances are just not good here, so you've got to start taking some risks. Got to go for some plays that are maybe very unlikely to succeed, but what if they do?
Yang wants to play. Gabby doesn't want it. Here, have a VG tag. That won't save you, Gabby. Actually, you will. And just like, be a way to save him. You're fine. Spin saves him, not the tag. But nice to see you coming into this series armed with all the memes they can have. Paparazzi's hoping for an opportunity in Viz ruined up.
Paparazzi's changing his build. He was hovering the Kaya, which is the classic component in the Sumail move speed build. I'm going to call the Sumail build because he was the first guy I saw do it. I don't know if he actually invented it, but I think he might have.
We'll give him credit.
Where you go the Boots of Travel Yules, and then Boots of Travel, then Kaya Yasha. So you have permanent 550 move speed with the 15 talent move speed. And then you can level up your Pulse Nova early because you have the mana cost reduction from the Kaya.
Content. Bottom lane, Stampede, straight through. Tim's, well, he knows he's dead. Paparazzi didn't even arrive in time. The rest of TNC, hey, what happens? You lose a hero. Let's go fight, boys. 4 heroes together, smoked up towards the mid-tier 1 tower. Fate is the man who's on the defense duty.
I'll finally get this tower.
Even if that, yeah, just send some fighters, they'll do the job.
Yep.
But maybe they can get something else. Deucer, as well as SD is here. TNC fight best when there are only 4. They already get to slow out the silence. No, Vandasar the rock, and Fetterbolt, 3 heroes connected together. They're going to burn so hard. Yang just walking up. You've already taken out the Grimstroke. Gabby, no longest, no spell immune. Cannot stand next to Paparazzi. They want Cuckoo. He'll blink away to safety. But VG Gaming, 2 heroes down. They can push towers. They can take Roshan. They can do both. They can take runes. They can only do 2 others.
Are you sure about that?
Well, there's only so much time they've got.
Yeah.
It's not infinite. And Tim's is going for the bottom bounty runes.
Yeah, at the very least for TNC, they do look to get a 2-2 trade. Never mind, they get 3 for 1. Shadow Demon shows up with a haste.
They didn't even take the tower, so I guess not.
And imagine, we're sitting here watching both teams' perspective, right? We're watching what both teams are doing, what items they have, how they're moving, where the wards are. And I'm struggling to see potentially good plays for TNC right now. So from their perspective in this game, I really wonder what the communication is right now. Like, what's the next play? What's the goal of the game? How are we going to get out of this sticky situation here to make the comeback?
Does the itemization of Armel kind of tell you a little bit about that? Like, he builds pipe, he's building for the team to stand together. You're still getting like full damage from Gabby. Like, he's going in for beyond the style build.
Maybe the timing is level 20 on Armel, so he gets the spider attack damage talent, and then he's going to have the solar crest and the blade if the spider's alive.
Yang missing that up a little bit. Tim trying to do something with this. Here comes the blink in from Cuckoo. Great vision block, but it's the biggest hero. You got to try and break down. Once again, Metal Pond doing its work for the Echo Sand deck, heading through what we thought could have been the unkillable. We asked them to do something, and that's exactly what happens. Armel wants to go for more. DY begins to CP. Someone got it done. Cuckoo does. Blinks forward, and now 2 heroes from VICI Games fall.
All right, that's good.
That'll work.
They got 2 kills, one of them being the huge centaur. They had to work hard for that kill, though. If Yang wouldn't have chilled so long and just used MP, he would probably got out of there.
Yeah.
But he felt invincible, and that's... Sometimes feeling invincible is not a good thing.
Isn't that game one all over again?
Yeah, pretty much.
Hey, we feel really good. Wait, hang on. Reminder, we are playing a team that can knock us to the lower bracket of TI9.
So,
give respect.
Very, very big for Brute to get this. He got both kills, he got the tier 2 tower, and all of a sudden Armel is almost got the solar crest and the level 20. And
Ari is still getting bigger, though, while all this is going on. Like, all the fights have been happening. Ari has literally just been jungling or lane farming in very safe areas. He's almost going to crack the 300 CS and about to finish a butterfly.
That we'll cross that bridge when we get there for TNC. First problems first.
One step at a time.
Need to deal with the Medusa later.
Hey, you'll be out of control. Cuckoo's pulling in for an Aghanim Scepter, and once you got this, maneuverable is going to be the name of the game. Broodmother moving up on hills, Cuckoo staying with him.
As far as VICI goes, though, you saw how long it took them to kill that Centaur. Imagine there's a save there. Imagine there's a Golem. Imagine there's a Shadow Demon Disruption. It feels like this play only works because there's not enough in the way of protecting him at the time. So if VICI Gaming are a little bit more together, winning a team fight right now for TNC seems almost next to impossible. Like, they need a really good Echo Slam, they need a really good tiny combo, probably a Omni/2. Like, they can't really make any mistakes, which, you know, we've seen flawed team fight executions from TNC. They can do it, but it's a really stacked deck against them right now in those fights.
Well, we passed, as you said, 20-minute mark. 23 is on the board. TNC.
It's a bit of a comeback, though, if you look at the graph. It got a couple of percentages.
It definitely is. We're sitting at 89% for VG Gaming win probability.
So, just...
As Paparazzi.
Root has the solar, right? Root has the solar.
On Courier? Yeah.
Yep. There's a solar and the level 20. The reason I'm looking for this timing is it gets insanely strong when these two things align. When you get the solar crest and level 20 for the spider attack damage talent, you go from dealing a lot of damage to dealing a lot of damage.
Yang still wants the spiders.
That's not a good way to have an army.
382 CS now on the Centaur. Rack 'em and stack 'em.
This is the highest CS of Centaur ever at 24 minutes. I almost guarantee.
Nice smoke up from VG Gaming, except at the same time, Fabe was walking back. Glimmer Ether Lens.
It might be the highest CS by Centaur ever at this point by like 50.
He's going to go in for Roshan. TN's either going to try and
I love it. I love it. Take a risk.
But hey, Yang, he's taunting his way over to the pit. Don't look now. He hops up there. He's able to get the stop from Roshan. Paparazzi with 4 for Gabby. Pushed up. He cannot move. Even with spin. This is that dancing. The rock will drop. Everybody up. Omni-Size try and break him free. Get him inside the pit. Gabby, he's actually on the other side of the rock wall. He gets a weapon while Tibbs keeps it in the back line. You've actually wasted the Stone Gaze, and TNC, they get out without a single loss.
Yeah, there's no Stone Gaze, no Golem, no Stampede. That's pretty good.
Brew can slip back into Roshan. Now VG Gaming's attention turns into how do we stop TNC from claiming Roshan?
And I love TNC take this risk. You see, it's a high risk play, but the reward could be massive, right? If you don't take these risks in this kind of game, you're unlikely to come back. So
They're even trying to kill the Golem. Hey, there's some money.
And Brood is back looking at the Rush Pit. Has the spider damage talent. This Trump can die really quickly. Armel might just get it, actually.
Flips overward. Just looking in. What do you do, Ori? Do you want to push? He's got no save. There's no backup. There's a disruption. They're smoked up VG Gaming. They're still watching Roshan closely. The damage from the spiders as the Brood is so huge. The spiders actually almost going to go down. The poison's killing them off. This is when Armel loses his power, when he loses his spiders.
Yep.
So he has to make some more. Over towards mid. There's more where that came from. Pop stop. Jumping in. Yang was trying to fight. Great fish with the back line, but Paparazzi BKB all protected. Letting the Brood run away too quickly. Armel needs to get up the hill and far, far away. There's no place like home. With Track and Yang both able to back up. There's a nice regeneration route. Deny it. Woo. Okay, well, that'll still deny it. No, he bottled it. So Paparazzi can get back up to full mana. Roshan, remember this man. 1700 HP. They want to break through him. Grimstroke's looking. Gabby walks in. Gabby walks out. We're playing Do-Si-Do in the bottom floor. Paparazzi found the target in the back line. Cuckoo dead so quickly. He takes so much damage. Now Paparazzi can burn the regeneration room, get all that mana back. Kani wants something else. He tossed back the illusion. He found the real one. Now Tim's out way too far. Yang capitalized. Hooks up his forward. Able to get the double edge damage. Paparazzi's there too. With the lighting, they've got no stampeding. Tim's there's nowhere to hide. They still think about doing Roshan, but Ori, he is the gatekeeper. At the front of the pit, TNC can still not get in, and Yang is like, okay, maybe I should do some damage now. I'll help Paparazzi. Armel can't let this happen. Ori still on the front line with the fence block. He's up on the high ground. DY can't really help him. Roshan, he will die to VG Gaming. He gets in the hands right now. It's actually going to be Paparazzi. Gabby, he's trying to brought down. Brood Mother. Now he's trying to retreat. The more damage he takes, the faster Grimstroke will die too.
That was a super well-played Roshan control by VG Gaming. This whole situation, the way they spread their heroes, they have, like you said, the Medusa is kind of just protecting the Roshan area, while the Leshrac finds an opening onto the Shaker, and they get a great fight out of it in the end. And, you know, hats off to TNC for trying to pull off this play. I think you have to do something like this, like I've said before. VG were just too good in this instance, and a weaker team would have maybe faltered there and would have got the Roche. But you see, so Ori's going to walk up here and will get fissured off. But Stone Gaze off, and flat out a mistake from Gabby here to get petrified. This should not be happening. You're just running in, getting petrified. I'm not sure what the plan is here. There's no way in hell you're ever killing the Medusa without using Omniflesh. She didn't have any mana. And then they just ran down and forced the Brood away as well.
Yeah. You realize it from TNC. There was a lot of laughing before game 2, but things have gotten really serious. They're missing their timing. The pick of Brood didn't work out the way they wanted it to. But you still come up. You still try to find a way to fight against VG Gaming. It seems so hard to keep these spiders alive too from Armel. All that big damage he wants to get into the backlines to kill off units like the SD. But then you got Glimmer Cape protection. In fact, both of them going Glimmer Cape. DY has almost completed his.
Yep.
So difficult for TNC just to straight up target lockdown. Goodbye tier 2 tower. Aegis to the Immortal. Oh, they're still in the hands of Paparazzi up on top. He's having his duel with Tim. Stampede just wants to close the distance. Do some more damage. Tim's has tossed. The creep wave's coming in. That's not what he wanted. Paparazzi, such fancy footwork. That's difficult with 4 legs. Tim's, there's your hit with the splitter. Down he goes.
Made him work for it. I think Paparazzi messed up and could probably stunned out of the Yules. Not sure if he was saving it for anything else or had cooldown, but when I clicked up there, it was ready. So they have to use Stampede, and it takes them 10 or 15 seconds. So Tim definitely buying some time there, but time for what? Time for what?
The second coming.
Yep.
TNC.
Well, maybe time to fight for bounties.
Maybe.
You gotta try it.
Well, 15 seconds to get into position. Luckily, Brood has a rather large network that he could use. Get north.
And a rather large net worth, unlike all of his teammates.
Well, he's taking up most of the map. It's pretty choked out. VG, giving them the options. And now, Juggernaut Yang, well, blink, hold, stop, quick on the Blade Fury. And Gabby, he needs some distance, and he needs now. The rock will drop. Here comes Ori too. Needs some extra slope. Brother's going to be nearby. They're doing so much damage. There's no way the Juggernaut can live. Even with the avalanche, they can't create enough space. Dead without buyback in Armel. Woo! That's it. It didn't work. And Armel, no protection. They're trying to slow him down. Great Fisher. Cuckoo. Able to create a little bit of extra space, but VG don't care. They just want to rampage forward. They want that semi-final matchup against LGD. And at this rate, they'll take it. TNC, they need a miracle.
Or 5.
One after the other, no spaces between.
Yeah, this is looking really, really tough for them. Just a flat out 5-on-5 seems completely unfavored. They don't have the damage to kill the Medusa. The Leshrac has a weakness. He's running around with haste move speed pretty much. He took the strength talent, so actually doesn't have full haste move speed, but 510. And another huge grab for VICI Gaming.
And together, they move. They can take out the Shrine. They'll push the top tier 2 tower as well. It's time for the new Vision game from VG Gaming. Actually, they've got 4 TP scrolls coming on the courier. All right.
Yang wants to be able to TP.
Yeah, they're all his. Could have brought some overwards for him if they're all called out, but no, we'll do it this way instead.
Radiant's top tower has fallen.
Tier 2 tower is gone, and they will not hold back. Jaeger's the immortal on Paparazzi. He's got nothing to fear. The Fissure doesn't block him out. Ori has enough space to move up high ground. No missed chances for him. And Paparazzi now triggers off the edict. No fortification available from TNC. So the tower can't survive. They are losing map control so fast. And all Armel can do is just move within his network, farm outside, but farm won't end.
He's got a Hex, so he can kill Shadow Demon.
He
finds him.
At least they have something then that can work with the Soulbind.
True. That's another good point about this game. When it comes to team fight and how TNC have built their lineup, they really haven't set up Grimstroke for success except the Juggernaut spin with Inkswell on. That's the only thing that synergizes with his ulti is his own silence and toss outside of the heck that Brood got 30 minutes in. So Grimstroke's primary teamfight contribution is generally one stun from the Inkswell and then the Soulbind and setting his teammates up for success and maybe a stroke of fate. But you take that ulti out of the equation, it used to even slow, it doesn't slow anymore.
Like you just see like how happy VG are to keep doing what they're doing. Like you've already got your defensive items for Ori and he's going in for the MKB next. Like no need to worry about the big burst damage. 2.1k HP seems to be enough for him. Same with Leshrac too. He's got the BKB to defend.
He's super fine. He has 2.1k. Oh,
Ooh, Armel. Blink. They catch out the Brood Mother. And all of a sudden they continue to chain. Brood is dead. 85 seconds. Grimstroke cannot TP out. He's controlling with disruption. And VG are all over TNC. No room to breathe. And this feels fatal. The push up from VG. Follow indeed, Gabby. That's all you can do. The buyback came out from the Grimstroke. But without the Broodmother, you don't even have the double hex we were talking about. Tims, he goes for it. He doesn't get the toss back, however. He just sorry for him in the air. Vision. Now the Soulbind together. Gabby is really spinning himself away. Paparazzi is killing Tims back line. They'll go fast if they want to. This game's over. It really is over. VG, playing your flag. You own TNC's home. Tims is going to do the best he can. TNC will fight to the bitter end. But VG Gaming now going for the Megas. Edict burns through all the buildings. Gabby moves forward, looking for some damage to burn off what mana? No, he's going to burn off life instead. Perched up. Now the rock will drop. He just wanted to control the Juggernaut. He'll still get the Omni Slash off, however. But how much damage is this really doing? They're so tanky and split across them. That's GG. 4 heroes gone. VG Gaming will advance to the semi-finals to have a date with an all LGD VG China semi-final. It still looked a little shaky, Cinderin. VG Gaming weren't absolutely perfect, but they still take the victory.
Yeah, this last game, though, was honestly really clean. They got last pick rooted. They had
It still looked a little shaky, Cinder, and VG Gaming went absolutely perfect, but they still take the victory.
Yeah, this last game, though, was honestly really clean. They got last pick rooted. They adapted correctly. I'm like putting Centaur mid is not a genius move, but the way they played their side lanes mainly. Yang had an outstanding performance mid. Their top lane, the Warlock, Medusa, they bided their time. They didn't panic. They weren't like, we need help, we need help, we need help, come top Shadow Demon. Instead, they identify, okay, we're going to lose our lane, but we're going to win the bottom lane really hard, and we're doing well in mid for Yang. And what's going to end up happening is, well, if they stay 3 heroes top, they're going to get out leveled. And when it comes to making moves, look at their picks. Centaur's or Shaker's losing his lane horribly, so he's not going to make moves. And the Tiny and Grimstroke are in the tri lane. They will not have levels. So you reach this point 10 minutes in where VG Gaming have 2 level 7 supports and the TNC supports are level 5, and there's just almost nothing to do on the map.
Beautiful play, the winner. VG Gaming a 2-1.
Yes, congratulations indeed to VICI Gaming. Was it ever in any doubt? Maybe, maybe not, who knows? But they are victorious and they do go through to a semi-final upper bracket in an all-Chinese matchup against PSG LGD. Back with our various sets of men. Grant and Neil, we'll start with you guys, really, because that kind of reverted back to TNC type a little bit. The first 2 games were great, and then the third one was a bit more like they were last year, wasn't it?
Yeah, definitely felt that way. And I think the biggest thing is VICI, like what they did, they sent a carry Leshrac down bottom. They just sacrificed Ori up top lane. And then, you know, middle lane. I mean, without that double stout shield, I was like, will they actually do it? And they just put Centaur middle. And TNC just didn't know how to react. They're like, oh, at least we're beating this Medusa. But then after the laning phase, they just crumbled.
Yeah.
And that being said, after seeing the LGD performance and how they're moving through the upper bracket and seeing the VICI performance, if I had to choose a Chinese frontrunner, I'm leaning towards LGD because that series against TNC was neck and neck, sure, but even then, even though VICI won, I just wasn't that confident in them.
Right.